Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the GAIA Daily for November 27th through 30th. How are you doing? Well, we are really coming into the energies of this partial lunar eclipse that happens on the 30th. And we're just kind of going headlong into this eclipse season. The energies are increasing exponentially, activating energies, and yet we're in that strange portal, standstill, what's going on? There's an increasing energy, if you stop and feel, of these activating energies. And with that comes this uncertainty. Of course, our physical world, everything just feels uncertain, unknown, difficult to find direction, plan, and see the way ahead. This is all evidence that the way ahead is very different. And that though you as a supernova soul is here to lead the way, therefore it's time to go. What does that mean? It means that we are being asked right now to very deliberately claim and own the highest divine timeline. So the eclipse season, eclipses in general, are about timeline alignment because it's when the planet, the sun and the moon line up with the nodes of the moon, which is where the orbit of the sun and the moon intersect. So it's that lining up timeline, the north node, how are we going to get to where we're going? And then the south node, what's holding us back from the past. And this eclipse season is just so powerful. And because it's just this culmination of 2020, of course, and the unknown and moving into this new, and everybody can sense who is slightly aware. and what we're going to find, I think, in the collective energies and the people around us that aren't so aware is a compensating energy of kind of going deeper asleep. It's like the only way they can find to deal with these energies, and to kind of, so that's part of what we're going through, right? We're going into this separation. Things are becoming very clear where people are at, and whether they're choosing to be on the awakening path or choosing to stay asleep, right? It's like we have to make a deliberate choice here. And so for you, supernova soul, you don't have a choice, right? Because that's what you came here for. This is why you came. And so right now in this eclipse season, what we're being asked to do is to deliberately, resolutely claim and own and vibrate at the highest timeline possible. This is about your vibration. So the definition of a timeline for me that I work with is, the messages that have come through around timelines for me in my work and has speak to a vibrational frequency. So if you want to get on that highest timeline and you want to do what you're here to do and tip the scales into this new reality, it's time to tend to your vibration. And everything that isn't supportive of your highest vibration has got to go. And your whole life right now, your whole life's work, your whole experience of your whole evolution is culminating to this point. And everything you've experienced is coming into play. We're having this huge bleed through of lifetimes, patterns through past lives, and very intense, but then also powerful to collapse those old timelines, get out of those old stories. And everything right now to do what we're here to do and to support the collapsing of the old timelines and establish the highest divine timeline is about our vibration, our resonance, just where we're putting our attention and our energy. And this is where the supernova soul, you are being shown over this period of time, this incredible set of gifts and skills that you have, that these gifts and skills in the 3D up to this point were rather cumbersome and difficult, making you so oversensitive and overwhelmed, with the collective energies and things like that. And now it's like, oh, this is what this is all about. This is a very strange moment that we're coming into here. It's like, can't describe it. We don't know. what's going to happen. We can all sense that there's something going on. And it feels like this portal of this eclipse season and solstice and Christmas moving into, finishing out the year, almost like culminating into that one point of light and moving through into a whole new possibility. And that's like means, everything we worked on for the past years around clearing the karma, clearing the baggage, working with the shadow. And it's all kind of squeezing into one place. So feels like there's powerful things playing out for people in life right now that have to do with these unresolved timelines, but like almost like a, like I was talking about, a stack of lifetimes, like all tied together, and it's like the same themes, and they're just bleeding through, and it's like, whoa, so there's a huge energy of revelation right now that can support us in giving ourselves permission for this highest vibration to resonate there, to choose deliberately in each moment of our day our spiritual truth, our spiritual reality. This is part of the activation of the North Node, the nodes in general, but the North Node with this Gemini full moon coming up, partial eclipse. It's, Gemini has an energy of speaking your truth, communicating your voice, and square Neptune, the node square Neptune. We're talking about our spiritual voice and what's been suppressed, the light being attacked and targeted throughout time, but definitely we're looking at the Piscean Age with that Neptune square the nodes. And that's an interesting energy because it's not time right now maybe to go cry it from the highest mountaintops to the masses, but it's about you establishing this vibration deliberately, that this is your work. This is the only thing that matters right now. This is your total and complete focus, is to establish the highest frequency you can in your life right now for these next couple of weeks, and do your, fulfill your part of this mission to align with the highest possible. And there's definitely some energy of dreaming. It's very broad, these dreams right now, this visioning, this planning. We can't plan exactly, right? Because it's this frustrating place of just, cannot get a grip of what lies ahead. And again, that's evidence that it's very different and we're turning a corner. But the bigger vibrational dreams of what you came here to do and want to do in the new chapter of the building of New Earth, that's very helpful energies right now, to use the Sagittarius and Neptune square the nodes energy to dream a new dream, and be like, what would it really be like if I stepped over right now into the New Earth and my people started coming, and the collaboration, the creative collaboration and the projects, and feeling supported by this world for this work finally. So we've got to keep our eye on the prize there with that highest vibrational frequency, while at the same time understanding that these old timelines are coming in because it's this beautiful opportunity to collapse the old stories so we can go through the portal without that baggage. And, what's really the crux of this whole issue has to do with today, exact, we're feeling Venus opposite Uranus, and that energy will lead us right to this full moon in Gemini. And now today, the moon is in Taurus, and then we'll be moving into Gemini. And so in Taurus, the moon is activating this Venus opposite Uranus. And this is like, okay, yeah, there's a part of me that knows this dream. I've been denying it. Nobody around me could validate it. I stuffed it down deep in my subconscious. It made me sick because it's all this potential that hasn't been realized. I know, there's something I sense in that, right? And the Venus opposite Uranus and Taurus, talking about the new energies infusing the earth, our complete change in our relationship to the physical, a revolution of what it means to be physical, a revolution of wealth and self-worth. And so it's the issues of whether or not you deserve and feel worthy of this new age that are keeping you from establishing that timeline, that highest timeline. And so it's time for this. And the energies as we move, it's a stagnant, stuck, suspended time that we're in, right? And yet you can feel the activating energies just really pushing us into, and that's where you have to go, like, I don't get to know what lies ahead. This feels incredibly uncomfortable. And yet you're an expert at this stuff. Like, that's why you're here. You come at the shift of ages. You come at the darkest times. You come to infuse the light and bring the spiritual truth, the vibration to, a lot of what I've seen over lifetimes of the supernova soul and their activities here on Earth is about stabilizing frequency shifts and changes, in establishing the light, and it's like often the light is not a direct challenge to the dark. It's just like, hey, this is here. We're here. We're not going away. And that's the energy of this time right now, and the lower timelines that keep, can suck us in so easily right now with the current events and the confusion and the uncertainty, but like that is going to pull our vibration down. And all we have is our vibration. Maybe this is part of the Uranus. The Uranus is this higher vibrational energy, right? This awakening. And it's like saying that we have this, the Venus opposite Uranus in Scorpio is telling us that we have, what we're doing here is allowing ourselves that higher vibrational reality, that everything we're doing is about owning. So it's interesting because what I'm seeing is this parallel thing of like you owning who you are right now and receiving the gifts of who you are, that Uranus and Taurus. And that is absolutely parallel with the world owning and being able to move into this divine timeline. So that Uranus in Taurus is like this uncovering of higher vibrational gifts, unpackaging of who you are. So that's helpful to know, like, yes, you got to hold this higher vibration. And what is this time about for you? It's about unpackaging, unboxing the gift that you are and understanding your skill set and bring your attention back there. Because it's like, yes, there's this lower play of uncertainty going on, this breaking down in, our reality. And then there's this radical, because Uranus has this radical awakening energy, a vibrational awakening to our self-worth, to those gifts, unwrapping those gifts and starting to work with those energies. And that's exactly, it comes back to this message of like, tend to your vibration. This is who you are, what you're here to do, and put everything else aside right now. Just only meet with the energies that can meet you where you're at and where you want to be, and where there's this part of you inside that knows this dream is real and knows you wouldn't come here for anything less. You wouldn't have gone through all this. We didn't go through the dark ages and the Piscean Age and get persecuted for our light just to like drop off now. Like, no. You do not fumble at the 1 yard line, right? It's like, we already know we won. And so to kind of just get hyper focused on your work right now, which is this vibrational resonance. I'm saying, is Uranus and Taurus telling us that the wealth of this world, as we move into this new age, is in this next chapter for humanity, the wealth of this world is vibrational resonance, and you got it. And so, of course, the forces that want to hold back this evolution are going to want to suck you back in to the unessential, right? And the day-to-day play and the movie and the nightmare. And that's the strange energy, because this Neptune, when you have big Neptune transits like this, and this Neptune transit lasts like 3 months, Neptune square the nodes, which is like, the nodes are the eclipse season, that timeline alignment, moving forward in a new way, things that are being revealed. But Neptune transits are so confusing. It's like, what is real? And that's maybe we're just having this kind of, that thing we've been experiencing of the nightmare, right? And then the dream. And these worlds are concurrently existing next to each other. And now we have to go through this portal shift. And what does that mean? What is going to happen here is these worlds collide and separate and whatever needs to happen. But you're here for that highest timeline. And it's kind of this point right now where it's like, as we move into these eclipses, it's like, that's all that matters. And are you going to commit to you and who you are, your spiritual truth, your spiritual voice, and be in the dream? But so we've been shown in this time of technology and busyness and, just so much going on, right? That our wealth, going back to this Uranus and Taurus, like our wealth has to do with our attention and where we put our energy. So we've got to be in the dream. And you feel yourself pulled into that other scary movie, back to the dream, and let yourself dream big right now into that big garden, of like, what is it going to look like right now? There's, snow on the ground and the earth is, frozen, but spring will come again. And what is your garden going to look like? What do you vision for that bigger garden here as we go through this portal, and set your vibration there. Put everything in your life, prioritize what supports and resonates at that highest timeline. It's this time where we're being asked to be resolute and determined. And it's so interesting because Venus opposite Uranus is bringing up all the insecurities. Like, do you deserve? Are you good enough? Do you know what you're doing? And so we're being asked to claim our abilities and our gifts of vibrational resonance and holding a field and saying, it's fine for you guys to go to the nightmare, right? But I'm here for this. And I feel like that's like, it's not that time to go scream it from, to go try to convince people or anything like that. It's about having that resolute determination within your own field of like, this is what I'm here for. This is what I came for. This is my set of skills. I'm going to come into that magic and those gifts right here, right now, and claim this highest, high, the most divine timeline, right? So when we're talking about timeline alignments, for what I've seen in the individual sessions I'm working with people, the timeline alignment is about going back to a lifetime on Earth where you were more embodied in your gifts, right? And vibrate, say, oh, what does that look like? Who am I even, right? And so that is the energy we're looking for here. It's like, and a lot of times it's like as those old timelines collapse, and then it's like, oh, this is, it shows you the gift of who you are. Such a huge energy right now. SuperNova Souls coming online, coming out of the fog, coming out of the lower play of delusional, and being like, whoa, I've got some badass skills and the world needs me right now. And it's like redemption and full validation, spiritual validation. It's interesting because this Venus opposite Uranus is deep insecurities around our spiritual validation. And yet coming through this with Venus and Scorpio, looking at the shadow side, and it's like, well, the low self-worth and the disconnection from who you are and your gifts came from that persecution energy, and that's just a story of the nightmare. And it actually validates your gifts. And so it's time to just own it. But we've got that like deep insecurities. And that all has a lot to do with that South Node in Sagittarius being so activated. Insecurities around like, Well, if you have those old timelines unresolved and you feel like you didn't fulfill your mission, you somehow failed. So then therefore you don't deserve your mission. You don't deserve your guidance. You don't deserve your team. And it's like the next chapter, we got to get absolutely together with the team and the guidance and the gifts, right? And so the insecurities for the supernova soul come from this feeling like of not deserving your spiritual purpose and path. And we got to just throw that all in the garbage and be like, why? Why are we even here? Why do we have these higher gifts? Why do we even bother? You know? And just let the whole, it's like we're having that culmination of this whole earth evolution with the shift of ages of like, all right, I played that out for long enough. You know, I'm going to stand in my light and in my truth. And maybe it's not a time yet fully to communicate it out to the world. But that's what's coming. You know, this Gemini energy is about being in your voice. And for the supernova soul, it's about standing in that highest vibration and the light and the truth and what's righteous. And being like, here we are, humanity. And you've got all programmed and distorted and mind controlled to think the dark is the light. But here we are. We're going to stand in that righteousness, in the purity, that armor of God. Just put the cloak of light on you, you know, and be, you know, stand in that truth right now. And it's interesting because I'm kind of seeing this thing of like Gemini wants to communicate and our voice has been so stifled, right? All of us throughout time, but particularly in this time we're in right now, it's really hard to talk about ideas that people don't like outside of their box. They will not have it. So that's not useful for us right now. But what is useful, I mean, actually, when you stand in your light and truth, it's really quite profound. If you go into a situation like a store or, you know, a conversation with other people, and that righteousness and that claiming of this higher vibration, claiming of your gifts, claiming of your light, and standing there in that truth, not saying anything. That's actually a very powerful voice. And it comes back to validating our vibrational gifts. It's like, oh, you got all these vibrational gifts. It's time to uncover and unlock those gifts and unwrap your presence and claim this incredible soul qualities that you have to hold presence and hold vibrational and harmonize timelines and stabilize worlds and frequencies. It's like waves of energy coming in, I think, for this next period of time. We've got these waves of these ascension energies, gamma rays from the center of the universe, activating. And when those waves of energy come in, that's when the supernova soul, you don't even know what you're doing. You're doing so much work right now, like just so much amazing work. And that might be why you're tired, why you can't get quite focused, why you know, just are having some symptoms, because it's like we are being called to action. And the action is inaction, you know, and the speaking our voice is remaining silent. You know, it's a strange time, but it all comes back to, you know, the Neptune square the nodes is confusing. It's like, what's real, what's not real. And this is where the supernova soul and those of humanity that don't even know it yet, but they resonate at a truth, more of a truth. And so we're coming to this place of like, I'm not buying it. Something is not right with this story. I am not buying it. No, in humanity, seeing through the delusions there's an opportunity for that. There's an opportunity to go deeper into delusions, and there's an opportunity to claim the dream. And for you, that's what you're here for. So Neptune square the nodes for you is like optimal, divine, highest, high timeline, spiritual revelation. Like, you guys, there's so much more to this story, right? And living and breathing that as your mission and purpose. Can you get back on your horse now? You know, it's like, so you felt like you failed in your mission, but time and time again, a big benefit of going back to those past lives and resolving the stories and the contracts is that it's like, oh, okay, I thought I had failed in my mission, but actually that was an attachment to what I thought my mission was. And perhaps my mission was simply to establish a seed. And I've been showing these times that we're in is like, we're coming back together in our groups. There's so many, so what through this evolution, there's what I've shown is these supernova souls come in pods and incarnate in groups, and they have been overlapping. Like one group will come in and then another, and it'll kind of like, and also spread out around the planet. And now it's like, ooh, all here together. Exciting times. And those seeds that you planted that you thought were failures in your mission, it's time to get back together and sprout those seeds. I mean, it's coming, it's around the corner. We can't see the corner. We can't see anything. We can only see the darkness and the confusion and the insecurity, right? I mean, you have to understand that those souls right now that are clinging to the physical reality as reality, it's going to get a shakedown, breakdown, right? And that's traumatic when there's like the rug is being pulled out from under you. And that's another reason why you're here. You are adept. You know that we're so much more than the body. Everything you've gone through, to have your spiritual awareness, you didn't just go through that to go through that. You went through that for right now. And it's time to claim all the deepest, darkest, rough things you've gone through. All of your spiritual journeys, all of your spiritual study. It's like, okay, it's like, that's the gift that we're opening here. So the energy is about dream the dream, put your complete and total devotion and attention. It's almost like it's almost like there's a positive aspect of the Piscean age coming forward for the supernova soul of like lifetime where you had spiritual revelation as a base of your reality and you were committed in your full being to higher spiritual truths. And it's like that might not make sense, but this energy of determination and devotion and like, I'm here for this. I'm choosing this. I'm owning it, and you can't not tell me otherwise anymore. In that movie of the nightmare, like, no. And so it's like we can tap in. Part of the Neptune square the nodes could be tapping into this revelation, devotion energy from the Piscean age as a spiritual leader in the Piscean age, and claim that back and be resolute in your vibration, tending to your vibration. So what does that mean? Just everything that helps you establish and hold and maintain and dream, and be in the possibilities, in the knowing that there's so much more than what we've been shown, what's been playing out. And then just set your course there. This is your work. This is your path and your purpose and all that matters. It's kind of the message. Like all your cares and worries of your everyday life and your business and how to get all that sorted out. It's just not a time to worry about that right now, right? It's like, set it all aside, do what you can do as you follow through your flow and your guidance, right? But it's that all hands on deck, and your hands on the deck is your ability to hold a frequency of love, hope, that when that rug gets pulled out from under humanity, that the rug it didn't exist actually, and let's get on the magic carpet, right? Release the rug and the elephant in the room and all that, and get on that magic carpet ride. And start to receive back the 7 times of what's been stolen from us. Receive back the bucket of blessings of all that interference energy, all of the control energies interfering. Then what if we have that same level of guidance available to us as we step through to this other dimensional reality, and just receive it, right? And then this Venus, so what's coming up for this weekend and for the supernova souls, like everything that keeps you feeling worthy, like, oh, I failed my mission, I don't deserve. I don't know who I am, whatever insecurities are coming up. And with Venus, it's very personal, and it's also very dark. It's, in Scorpio, it's going to those darkest places where you're triggered into the old movie, you know, and kind of like, okay, it's time to collapse all that story. So it's coming up like the insecurities that are keeping you from owning these gifts. And so hold tight in the light and be present. So glad to have you here with us, SuperNova Souls. You're so amazing and so needed and so valuable at this time. The only thing is the most highest valuable thing right now. Uranus and Taurus and this activation is saying the biggest wealth is vibration. So just do it. Just do that right now. Just give yourself a couple weeks to just only do that. And put, everything can happen. Life can take care of life, and you're taking care of this. You are choosing and owning and deliberately devoted to that highest high. And I think that's the energy that is inviting in the incarnation of that bigger spiritual self. That's a big part of this time right now. And maybe if you feel lost in direction, you feel lost in your life, nothing that you thought you were doing is working out, and that's maybe evidence that you have chosen this time to embody that bigger spiritual self. And that's all that matters. When there's a baby being born, you set aside all the other worries. You got to get that baby born, and that's where we're at. And everything in your choices every day, moment to moment, are about, okay, what's in the vibration of that most high, of that child of light that I am, that's trying to establish here. And how do I support that? How do I love that? How do I be in that energy? How do I dream the dream? And so great work. Thanks for keeping it up. And it's exciting times ahead. The more unstable it feels, the more exciting it is for the SuperNova Souls, actually. So it's a time where we're really being asked to separate from collective energies, give ourselves permission to be in that dream, to be in that knowing that we're going to be fine through this transition, and we're fine. You're fine. SuperNova Souls have been feeling better and better energetically overall this whole year, even though this garbage is going on, It's like, we're fine. You got this. We got this. We know exactly what to do. Part of the unknown in your life is that you're being called to duty in this bigger self and this gifts and skills you didn't even know you had, Again, opening the presence. And so it's time to be there. Commit. Make that more real than anything else. So thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you. With the next few days, we also have a very sweet transit leading up to, we got that Venus opposite Uranus, but we got Mercury in Scorpio and degrees Scorpio there at 25 degrees and sextile to Jupiter. And so Scorpio, Capricorn, really powerful energies of harmonizing this whole Capricorn bloom and coming, just the shadow work and all that. And Mercury's like, hey, if we're almost there, we're at the 1 yard line and there's something dark in the corner that just got overlooked, but it's what's holding us back. Time to go there and shine the light on it. Shine the light on all that is dark and put on that cloak, that armor. That's this energy here. It's just like, you are not scared of the dark. You are not scared of dimensional change. You are not scared of recognizing that you're just embodying this body as a journey, as a spiritual being. And that's the benefit too. The gift of these gifts coming forward is also the gift of feeling held and loved here. That you thought you were dropped off and left for dead on Earth, but you're actually just really close to breaking through out of quarantine back into your spiritual galactic family connections, feeling held and loved and supported on this journey. So that Mercury sextile Jupiter is kind of like, we can do this. We can do this. We're right there. And Jimmy the lock, right? So that shadow energy with Jupiter finishing up in Capricorn and coming into its conjunction with Saturn, The shadow energies that we're jimmying the lock on have to do with authority, where we gave our power away. And actually, everywhere you've played small, everywhere you didn't come into your gifts, everywhere where you conceded your light in order to just get through and survive, that had to do with authority energies, where you said that maybe you couldn't handle your power was too much for the earth, or, you can't bring that here. And then it's like, we're at this point of like, well, why would we even have access to it? And why would we go through all of this? And it's just like, game over and game on, right? And releasing everywhere that we bought into there's something outside of us more powerful than who we are that gets to say whether we can come into our full light, our full power. Part of being a supernova soul is that you've been purified and cleansed in the fires. And so now it's time to stand up in that armor of light and that purity. And maybe that's kind of relating back to our permission to deliberately and determinedly, resolutely claim the highest high. Divine timeline. So wonderful work ahead. And you got this. We've got this. Let's stay connected, because the movie, the Dark Nightmare movie, is really trying to enforce this quarantine, psychological quarantine energy and disconnection, right? So we got to go up above that lower matrix and find each other there. And I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully you can consider making it to one of those soul group sessions. These are group intuitive sessions for these eclipses and for the solstice. And the group intuitive session is about going into shared past life energies, getting those authority contracts, figuring out who we are, the timeline alignments, all that stuff's on the table. Of course, we don't get to know exactly, because that's the group of souls that comes, brings the picture. So we'll be looking at a past life energy that will resonate with everybody who's involved, and give us an opportunity to collapse those old timelines and step into that new, most high, most beautiful, most true vibrational reality. So I hope you can consider making that. If you can't make the live time, the energy is encoded for you. Your intention to join allows you to be a part of the process, bring your energy, get those clearings and healings. And whenever you can watch the replay, you can tap into that energy, because we're working outside of the time matrix on these events. And so I hope to see you there or on the next update. Have a wonderful weekend. And until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.